I can't complain, but sometimes I still do. Life's been good to me so far. My Maserati does 185. I lost my license, now I don't drive. I live in hotels, tear out the walls. I have accountants, pay for it all. I have a limo right in the trunk.
Okay, viewers, art heads, art lovers, time for more half-assed reports from the guy on the bike. And, well, boy, this is like a Hollywood opening down here. We're at Zwirner on West 19th Street. We're gonna run in and see a show by one of today's most recognized and interesting artists, Neo Rauch. They're calling this show At the Well. And it's like a real snazzy opening here. Oh, geez, nice matching clothes here. So we'll make a quick run through. You can catch a little taste of the crowd here, and then we'll come back and we look at some of these pieces on a more individual basis. Oh, gee. There's Neo right there. Oh, he's a handsome guy. Well, I've been a fan of Neo Rauch for about 15 years. I think that I'd heard about him reading an art forum and things like that, and then I was in Munich. It was in 2000 or 2001, and saw a one-person show that he had at the Haus der Kunst there. And I've been keeping track of his work ever since. This piece is titled Der Felsenwirt. And you can go back and check one of the early Kalm reports, and I caught him at the Met for a little show he had there, and actually caught an interview with him, 3 or 4 parts, and I actually got a chance to ask him some questions. It's titled Das Horn, and it's big. It's 107/8 by 120. So that's about 8.5 by 10 feet. And so it's got kind of a toned down palette, mostly the like English reds, siennas, pale yellows. It was very interesting with this kind of visual narratives that he builds out. So we've got kind of looks like modernistic sculpture, it's like hands art, and then with these odd country people standing around celebrating this. And it's got a very, very nice kind of a light touch. Anyway, when I was trying to interview Neo at the Met, basically my German isn't that good, and he came off as not really understanding, but I was later talking to a lady from German TV, and she said she'd been tracking him for 2 years and that he never spoke to the press. This is titled Am Brunnen, 2014, oil on canvas, 120 by 100 inches. Now, if we look down here, it's like we've got a little, whether that represents some kind of a fence or whether that relates to maybe a stretched canvas frame. and he was juiced up his colors a little bit. You know, I've been keeping track and doing a little research on Neo, and he's got a very interesting backstory. One of the things is, I guess, that his parents died, maybe in a train wreck or a car wreck or something, when he was very young, and so he was a ward of the East German state. And I know that he was also an Oberleutnant in the East German army. He was an officer. He wasn't a grunt. He was an officer. And so I think when he decided to go to the academy there in Leipzig, he was probably considered a wonderful example of East German social engineering, maybe. It's titled Marina. And again, we've got this kind of odd narrative going on. It's like a strange mermaid, maybe, and these characters have fished out some kind of crucifix figure. And got this. That's some kind of primitive fetish sculpture or modern sculpture floating in the sky. It's part of the interest of looking at a Neo Rauch is trying to unravel his narratives, and there's always some pretty juicy references to art history, and especially, I guess, German or Eastern European art history, which a lot of Americans are not so familiar with. He's getting some crackle in his paint. Über den Dachern. It's also 120 by 100. One of the things that I kind of liked, look at this, like a cubist section, a rectangle, sort of twisted off center. What I always liked about some of his earlier work was there was a very unapologetic reference to East German and communist propaganda. And he didn't really start to get the kind of attention that he's received in the last 10 years until after the wall came down. And he was trained as an academic painter. Der Nacht. Oil on canvas is also like 10 by 8.5. Well, one of the questions that I wanted to ask Neo was about the status of the Leipzig Academy, and a lot of people, I think he still teaches there, but a lot of people have proposed that the Leipzig Academy would be the best example of what has been called the Post-Socialist art movement. And because they do a lot of work with timelines and art movements and stuff like that, you could sort of put the Leipzig School right behind the young British artists, Damien Hirst. And I would say that they're the rebels. I would say that Neo would probably be one of the leading members of the Leipzig School. Oh, this is a real big painting. This is titled titled Der Blaue Fisch. This is a diptych. 120 by 199.5 inches. Hell, just call it 200 inches. So that's about 10 by 18.5 feet. Well, I would say that one thing is that some of his previous paintings, they had a lot more kind of shifts in perspective, different views of landscapes and scenes laid within each other. Simple, although there's still a lot of complexity here. Oh, paparazzi. I think the other thing that I kind of am attracted to is that has a kind of bizarre palette. For example, this kind of green face relates to Montaigne or even Max Beckmann. A lot of this is kind of gaseous greens, sickly grays, gunmetal blues. You can look at these pieces and see that it's all been touched by human hands. Somebody's paws have been working over this painting. There's a lot of underpainting, scraping, correction, and as a painter, I think he does a pretty remarkable job doing that kind of what you call it, surrealistic expressionism, melding a lot of these things together. This is another extremely large painting, and this is an example of what I was talking about, some of his compositional devices. This upper left corner that's kind of like a cutout, coloristically jazzed up section laid over the more dour gray section, and here again we've got these odd narratives. Getting back to the post-socialist art and the Leipzig School, I think probably in the mid-late 90s, this would be 7 or 8 years after the Iron Curtain came down and the Berlin Wall fell. People like Neo and his wife, Rosa Loy, and this whole academy that they were studying at and then eventually teaching at was kind of looked upon as almost like some kind of prehistoric or pre-modern throwback, some kind of little time capsule, because East German communists, of course, were against avant-garde abstract art, and so you had to be involved in social realism. And it's a nice stool with the red and blue shadows. And I always liked the idea of the artist as resisting the establishment or just resisting the status quo. So I think Neo is kind of doing that. She's got like a little Brancusi there in the back. Somebody on a table. Some kind of a burning building up on the hill. Maybe that's the some kind of space needle or a spaceship that's crashed. I don't know. Well, now we're going to see what they've got hidden in the back room here. Wow. More German TV. Well, oh, this is nice. We've got some of Neo's smaller pieces. Actually, when I covered the show at the Met, he had several of these smaller pieces, and they're actually very nice. It's oil on canvas, 16 by 14 inches. It's titled Sauger. And a lot of times I think that in small paintings you get a chance to see maybe a more unrestrained view of an artist's work. This is titled Roller. .24 by 40. Oh, there's that weird car that's in the large painting in the main gallery. And he does have kind of a unique use of this English red burnt sienna that it kind of fades into his grays. It's another big piece. Sculptor in. And again, we got these weird structures there. References to some kind of bizarre modernism. This makes me think of Jeff Koons' workshop. And then, yeah, that's very odd. You know, it's interesting to see the kind of the different plays of the shiny versus the matte surfaces. You can see where he's changing his medium with his terp washes. This is a beautiful little piece. Corrector. Cute, we've got a little red elephant. Paddler. Yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm getting kind of a flash of a great German painter called Hans van Marais, who was painting during the 1840s and sort of came in during the end of the Nazarenes movement. Spate Heimker. Again, we've got some kind of strange narrative going on. Now, I guess that Neo just kind of makes these paintings and then after they're done, he analyzes them and tries to figure out exactly what the heck they mean. This is Duo, 2014 oil on canvas, 14 by 16 inches. as nice as this is, in a little painting like this, he uses the same kind of details in some of the big paintings, certain areas, and it's a nice contrast. This is James Kalm reporting on Neo Rauch at the well. Here at Zwirner on West 19th Street in Chelsea. Thank you, Kate.
Something like that.
Wow, thanks, Sid.
Sure.
70s classic rock?
Oh yeah.
Keep it alive, man.
Yeah, man.